coming out of Pesach, and Pesach we know was in Haga Aviv. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim in the beautiful weather, and like Nisim mentioned, the weather is gorgeous here right now. We did Birkat Ilanot, and we should spend a minute to think about that, because that's the whole idea of the whole world. Hashem is managing the world for our benefit in order to be aware of Him. Every single thing in this world is made in order for us to be aware of Hashem. And that is the biggest chesed in the whole wide world. Again, should anybody ask you what's the biggest chesed in the world? Of course, life, air, water, eyesight, walking, talking, thinking, all those things are included, no question about that. But the biggest chesed in the whole wide world has to be the fact that Hashem is revealing to us that there's a God in the world. To walk around in this world with all those things and think think chas v'shalom that they happen by themselves, that would be a tragedy. Now, but to understand and to see all of the kindness and the wisdom and the gevurah and the power and all these things in the world, Hashem's revealing it every second of every day. Just look up in the sky. Last night we saw a nice moon in the sky. It's hanging up there. It's waiting for us to notice it. And the sun today, notice that sun. So all these things are there for us to notice. And that's the idea that Hashem put them up there in order for us to notice them and gain Yirat Shamayim. Yirat Shamayim, that's the key item. That's the key item in life. Yirat Shamayim is awareness of Hashem, and that's what we're here for. So we are now thinking about it. We're seeing the budding of the trees and the rejuvenation of nature and the fruit coming out on the trees. We said beracha on the fruit trees. We see some apple blossoms coming out. So we have to look at that. Look at that. Look at those buds coming out of those trees. The wood. It's coming out of wood. How could it come out of wood? That's a miracle. You got to concentrate on that. You got to think about that. How could apples come out of wood? How could peaches come out of wood? Pears, oranges. You look at the branch. It's coming out of a branch. How could it come out of wood? Now you look at the wood. The wood is part of the bark, and the bark is part of the tree. Now you look all the way down on the bark, and it's coming out of soil. Looks like dirt, but it's not dirt. Soil is not dirt. Soil is alive. There's more life, the rabbi would tell us, in 1 tablespoon of soil than all the names in the New York City phone book. all that is more life in there. More bacteria and fungi and earthworms and all kinds of things that are conducive to making food. Without those things, you can't grow any tomatoes in the sand in the beach. Won't work. Can't grow any apple trees or bananas. Sand in the beach is dead. It's dead as a doornail. But the soil is alive. The soil is alive, and the whole earth. Rabbi Sadia Gaon, Rabbi Miller would always quote. Rabbi Sadia Gaon would tell us that the earth is covered with a mask, so to speak. A sliver of soil covers the earth, and then nobody knows where that came from. All the scientists in the world can't figure out where that came from. That soil is covering the earth, and that's what's bringing us life. And there's no soil in other planets, which is why one of the reasons why you'll never find any life in any of these planets, because it has nothing to support the life. No air, water, soil. How's it going to grow food without soil? So this is what we're thinking about on when we're looking at the Ilanot. We have to think about these thoughts, all the things that went into, all the power, kindness, and wisdom that went into putting these things in place in order to bring us food. And this world is a food world, Rab Sadia Gaon says. Everything in this world is there. How much it's manufacturing food. How about the ocean? How many tons of fish the ocean is producing? All those fish. And every day, fresh fish is in the stores. Not the same old fish. That fresh fish coming in from the reservoir of the ocean, and it's feeding the whole world. Even the non-kosher fish. We learned last week about the kosher fish, non-kosher fish, fins and scales. You have the shellfish, but they're feeding the world. There's people in this world who can eat those fish, and it's good for them. And Hashem, and they have to thank Hashem for those fish. They have to thank Hashem. They have to thank Him. This is the obligation of all of creation. All of creation is obligated to thank Hashem, and that is what Hashem is giving all the food and all the air and all the life in order to make people, not that he needs their thanks, he don't need their thanks, but he should give people the awareness that somebody's giving it to them, that there's awareness of Hashem in the world. And this is what we're thinking about over here when we have Birchat Ilanot, we see Techiyat Metim. There's another thing we have to see. That's one of the tenets of Judaism, that there's a Techiyat Metim, that life is not over in the ground, in the grave. There's a Techiyat Metim, there is a resurrection of life. Why is that? Because the soul cannot be destroyed. That's called Hasha'arat HaNefesh. The immutability, it's immutable. It's undestroyable. The soul cannot be destroyed. And that is the sword of Judaism. If a person doesn't believe in that, then he's not Jewish. Then he's a kofir. What's so essential about that belief? Because the soul is a piece of Hashem. So once we understand that the soul is a piece of Hashem, then we could see, we can realize that it's undestroyable. It's immutable. It's cannot be destroyed forever and ever and ever. L'nesach nesachim. That's called Hasharat HaNefesh. And from this idea about the soul, we're going to see, we're learning today how we're concentrating on Ben Adam L'Chavero, loving your fellow Jew. And one of the tenets of that is to realize that a Jew is made, and all mankind actually is made in the image of Hashem, and Hashem blew into man Nishmat Hayim, a piece of himself. Whatever that means, he blew into man his soul. The soul is the godliness. A man has godliness. That godliness is coming from inside of Hashem, from Hashem. And this is part of our Torah, part of our Emunah. Now we can never say such a thing. We can't say things like that. We can only say it because God said it, because the Torah said it. Torah says, I blew into man the breath of life, and therefore you can say it. And we can say that Hashem man has its Tselem Elokim. Man is made in the image of God. Now you cannot say such a thing, because God eno demut haguf eno guf. God has no image. Can't have an image. God has no image. He's malek kol haaretz kevodo. The whole world is filled of the spirit of Hashem. Hashem is the batteries of the world. He's Baruch she'amar v'haya olam ki hu amar v'yehi hu siva v'yamod. It's His will that's keeping everything going. It's the will of Hashem. So we cannot say that eno demut haguf. Surely eno demut haguf. But on the other side, they have to believe with full faith that b'demut Hashem, that man is made in the image of God. So it's a contradiction of facts, but of sorts. But we have to believe both sides. One, that man is made in the image of God. Tselem Elokim nivra Adam. Why? Because God said that in the Torah. Tselem Elokim, image of God. Now, of course, God doesn't have a nose, or eyes, or ears, or a chin, a face, and arms. No, but Tselem Elokim, we have to understand in the shadow of Hashem, in his midot of Hashem. In his potential of Hashem. Man has a potential to reach the highest heights, like the Rambam tells. Potential in his character is unlimited. Okay, so Hashem is giving us that heads up because He loves us, and that's what we're working on over here. We're in the afterlife of Pesach. And Pesach, Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, liyot lachem lelohim. Took us out in order that we should serve Him. That's the idea of Pesach. He gave us freedom to do what? Not freedom to be what you want to be, not freedom to do what you want to do. As long as you do them in the kosher way, you can grow. He gave us a Torah in order to give us the guidelines of what to be and how to do in order to become as best as we can be. But the idea is to serve Hashem. Liyot lachem lelohim. That's why He took us out of Mitzrayim. But of course, the end game is to give us the Torah. And that's what we're working on right now. We're working on the Omer, and we're at the 22nd day, the count of 22 steps of raising ourselves, of preparing ourselves. Hatken atzmecha beprosdor. We're preparing ourselves in the vestibule. What vestibule? The vestibule of this world. This world is a vestibule. It's a hallway. It's the only place you'll be able to prepare. You cannot prepare once you're in the next world. That's finished. It's over. Alelah et Hashem b'chayai. King David said last week in the Rosh Chodesh, Alelah et Hashem b'chayai. Let me praise Hashem when I'm alive. Oh, because when we think about it, doesn't everybody think that what are they doing upstairs? What are the people doing? They're praising Hashem. Of course they are. Hodu la Hashem kitov. They're praising Hashem. But they're only praising Hashem with the extent that they praise Hashem with their free will over here in this world. Now that's a chidush. Think about that. Let's say it again. We have to know that the souls are praising Hashem forever. They're saying kadosh, 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 kadosh. They're saying it ad infinitum. That's what it is. When we say the one kadosh, 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 it doesn't end over there. He's saying it kadosh with more understanding. Every time you say kadosh, the souls or the angels are saying kadosh with more understanding, and they're able to say it with more fervor because they see more of the infinite wisdom, power, and kindness of Hashem, and they're able to say it stronger now. More kadosh, more kadosh. And when we're up there, and after 120 years, our souls will also be able to do the same thing. We're able to see the truth of the world, the truth of life. We're able to see more of how Hashem will reveal to us more of the way He runs the world, and the way He's been running the world, and the way He's done everything, things that we never understood. And we're going to say, Kadosh, 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 you're perfect, you're perfect, you're perfect. We're going to say it with full fervor, but we're going to say it with the amount of with free will. The free will only comes when you're alive. So Ahalat Hashem b'chayai, we're going to praise Hashem when I'm alive. King David said, please, lo amut ki achyev v'aseh, let me live in order that I could praise you, Hashem, with my free will. That was his argument. I want to praise you with my free will. So the idea is that we are now on the road to accepting the Torah, to getting the Torah. And that is why Hashem created the world. It says here, it says, Hashem created the whole world. Why? Created it to give the Torah. If we didn't accept the Torah, then the world would not, the whole existence of the world, the purpose of the world was to give the Torah. And the Jewish people were the ones that jumped up to the front, to the fore, to the task, and they grabbed the Torah. And Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, they grabbed the service of Hashem. And we are the reasons that the world is standing today, because we have grabbed the Torah. Now, we are looking also today at the parasha. And then we'll go a little bit further into the Pirkei Avot. But our parasha gives us tremendous lessons. Of course, it's Tazria, Mesorah, and Metzorah, we know, comes from the acronym Motzi Shem Ra, that's Lashon Hara, and this is something we are trying to improve. That's Hatken Atzmecha Beprosdor. Improve yourself. Prepare yourself in the prosdor, in this banquet hall. That's the only place you can prepare. Once this hall is shut, there's no more preparation. We're going to be praising Hashem with the amount of preparation that we prepared over here. So in our parasha, we're talking about the terrible malady, sickness, the spiritual sickness of Sarat. Sarat that Hashem brought onto the Jewish people up until it was a miracle of a sickness. And Hashem didn't bring this sickness because He wants to hurt anybody. He wants people to improve. He bringing these. This is a spiritual disease, and of course, up until the Bayit Sheni, after the Bayit Sheni, the people that weren't on the level even to get such a zechut to have such a sickness. You had to have a zechut to have this sickness. It's like the sotah. The sotah, the wayward lady, that she had they had a zechut that she was able to drink the water and it was able to bring out the truth in the sotah, either to the positive or to the negative. But after a certain period in time, after the Bayit Sheni, that didn't work neither. And there were a lot of miracles that stopped happening after the Bayit Sheni. And because the Jewish people were not on the level of receiving those miracles. So the Sarat, again, at first, Hashem brought the Sarat in those days. He brought it first on a guy's house. Oh, He's giving him a warning. He says, you're talking bad about your neighbor. You're talking slander. You're carrying tales. You're talking even you're talking lies, and even truths you're talking that are causing people to have a bad opinion on somebody else, another Jew. So this, Hashem says, this is a terrible sin was, it means that you think also when you're talking bad about people, you're actually saying to Hashem that Hashem, you're giving that guy, for example, all these good things. Maybe he doesn't deserve it. So you're saying Hashem, maybe Hashem doesn't know how to run the world. Maybe Hashem doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe he's making a mistake. You're actually thinking that in your heart of hearts. So that's a terrible, terrible sin. And Hashem's looking to the bottom of that sin. But anyway, he's giving us a heads up. He's giving us a warning in his kindness. Puts it on the house first. Puts a little blemish on the house, a pimple, a hair, or something's growing from the house. And the guys should be getting the message. And if he does, he stops doing the bad. Sur merav aseh tov. He stops talking slander about his friend. And the best thing to do is talk good things about people. Okay, certainly you should stop saying negative things, but it's always best to say va'aseh tov. Say positive things about people. Of course, sometimes it's best not to say nothing about anybody, because when you start to talk, then people also chime in. They chime in with not such hot ideas about people. Let's say you say a guy's giving a lot of tzedakah. So the guy chimes in, yeah, he of course he gives us a lot of tzedakah. He's a multimillionaire, but he doesn't give enough. Or he's stingy with his brother and sister. So they come out with bad thoughts because they're negative people. That's the nature of people, by the way. Nature of people that way. That's why we have to be so careful when we say even good things about somebody in a crowd. Be so careful. Better off not to say too much. Now, Hashem is bringing it first on the guy's house. And if that doesn't work, he brings it on the guy's clothes. Oh, the guy says, it's now on my clothes. This pimple jumped on my clothes. This aberration, this discoloration is now on my clothes. I better be careful. What am I going to do? No. But if a guy is stubborn, they say, nah, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So I was in a little bit of a fender bender. A guy hit me from the back of my car, or maybe I came out and my car was damaged. Doesn't mean anything. No. That's you're missing the point. You have to know that Hashem runs the world. Hashem runs the world, and He's running for our benefit. Kol da'avar rachamana letavavid. Everything is for our benefit. He's running the world in order to give us the heads up. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, Hashem. He wants us to be better. He wants us to improve. That's the idea. So now this guy here, now it's on his skin. And the Rav tells us this is a model for any and all misfortune. Misara'at. We don't have it anymore, sir, but this is a model for all misfortune till today. Guy got a sore throat. That's a model. With the emunah Hashem, everything is sent by Hashem, with the prime objective of having us take notice that Hashem loves you and is aware of all you do and think, and what you think as your Father. He's your Father, and He's watching out for you, for your success and perfection and progress in this life. And when we get this thing, we have to lepashpesh b'ma'asav. First idea is to check out your deeds. Check your deeds. And this clearly demonstrates His love and care for us. For example, you have to be able to notice things. Now, you see a little boy crossing the street. It's dangerous. So sometimes the father has to slap his hand because he loves his son. So Hashem sometimes has to slap our hand, not with the intention to hurt our hand, because He wants us to notice that He's watching us, that we love Him. If we didn't love the son, we're not going to slap his hand at all. We're not going to tell him anything. And the boy can continue to do dangerous things. The rabbi always taught us, Rabbi Victor Miller, a very big musar, that we have to get lessons from seeing sara'at, seeing problems on other people. And he brings from the Mishleh, Shlomo HaMelech said, I passed by the field of a lazy man, and he had a chasalev. He was not too smart. He was chasalev. And what did he see? I passed by that field, and I saw that the gate was broken down. There were thorns and thistles growing in his field, and he wasn't taking care of his field. So Shlomo says he saw this. Ra'iti lakachat musar. He goes, I saw this, and I was flabbergasted, and it shook me. I wanted to take the musar. I took instruction from this. The instruction was that a person has to be responsible for what he has. The man wasn't responsible for his field, but actually the most important field that a person has is his mind. Person has to be guarding what's going to go in his mind. The guy's got to guard what's going in his field. His mind, especially these days, no question about it. There's so much poison out there. There's so much thorns out there, thistles that a guy could put in his mind and never get it out of his mind. You know, the Kuzari says once you put something in your mind, you can't get it out. You can't get it out forever. Now, we have to look ahead. Brings from the Perkei Avot, Haro'eh Tanolad. That's one of the things that one of the students of Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai brought back. That is one of the fundamentals of life, of strategies of life, that you look ahead. Haro'eh Tanolad. So let's say you see or hear that the person doesn't have seatbelts on. You look ahead. You have to notice it. The guy got an accident. He didn't have seatbelts. Let's say the guy had no coat on, cold outside, and he caught a flu. Why? Because he had no coat. We have to notice these things. We have to make sure that we are not going to fall into that trap. We're going to put our coat on when it's cold outside. And if you have a guy that's very nervous, maybe he didn't get enough sleep, we have to make sure we get enough sleep. So all these are object lessons. And these object lessons are iti lakachat musar. We have to take instruction from what's going on in the world. We have to make sure we have good friends, good schooling, good rabbis. The idea is to learn lessons and take steps from other people's problems. Don't wait until the sarat comes on your skin, chas v'shalom. When it comes on a person's house, on his clothes, that's the best time to take the instruction, to learn the instruction. The rabbi always tells the story. There was a nice young man on an outing. He was a counselor in Yeshiva University, and he maybe 50 years ago, and he had a whole bunch of young boys. He was taking them on an outing, on a Tu B'Shvat outing, let's call it, and in Manhattan. And he was walking them, and there were some rough boys, and they were goyim, and they were calling them names. They called them dirty Jew or things like that. And this counselor, he was a tough guy, and he was a karate expert, and he had in his pocket, the rabbi would say, nunchucks in his pocket, in his back pocket. So he told the young boys, he goes, look, you guys keep walking. They all had yarmulkes on, and they were being insulted. He told them, look, keep walking a couple of blocks. I'm going to give these guys a piece, and I'll meet you over there in a couple of blocks. So this counselor went over to these guys, and he started to give them a piece of his mind, started to talk rough to them. And they opened their trunk, they took out and they bashed the guy's head in and killed him. And the rabbi tells the story. He says, we have to learn a tremendous lesson here. Tubav de shama ve'adish chelfua b'shtei me'ah. It's from the Gemara. Lucky is he who hears and ignores. 100 evils will pass him by. Very important. Don't stop the action. You have a guy, you're in a car, and a guy hits you from the back or from the side, hits your car. Don't get out of the car. Make sure. Don't get out of the car. There's all kinds of nuts out there. Don't get out of the car. If you sit in your car and call the police from your car, if that's the case, call the police, but don't open your window. Guy starts to shout at you from his window, or don't answer back, because that can cause a very big problem. That you're going to answer, he's going to answer back and forth, and you never know where that's going to lead. Especially today, there's all kinds of crazy people out there. Even a husband and a wife. The husband comes home from a tough day at work, and the wife has a tough day with the kids in the house, and they're driving her crazy. He opens the door. He shouldn't open the door, by the way. Before he opens the door, he should think, what's on the other side of that door? Put his hand on the doorknob and wait. Count to 10 before you open the door and think, what's on the other side of that door? Because your wife's it could be an angry bear on the other side of that door. You're going to open the door, and the wife's going to let you have it. So you have to make sure you make up your mind, no matter what she says, I'm not going to answer back. No matter what, I'm not going to answer back. Now, if you don't answer back, then there cannot be any configuration, any fight, because it's like a ping pong match. If she says something, you answer, she answers back and forth, and the ping pong ball keeps going back and forth. And it goes back and forth even faster and quicker and with more force. So if you take the initiative and keep your mouth shut, like it says in the Perkei Avot, Lo matzati leguf tov mishtitika. I never found anything better for my body. Rabbi Shimon says it. Then keeping quiet. Then this will maybe save your marriage, save your life. Person has a job, and his boss tells him something rough. Don't answer him back. Don't answer. He may be out of a job. If you have a customer and the customer's complaining, don't answer the customer back. Give him what he wants if you can. You'll still keep your customer. This is very important. And before you know it, it'll go over your head, and you won't remember it anymore. And this also, you're exercising your self-control. That's called Ezu Gibor HaKoveset Yitzro. And that's another one of the Pirkei Avot that we're going to learn a little bit today, a few Pirkei Avot. Now, Sarat is also reminding us to remember and appreciate and thank Hashem for what we have. When you're walking in the street, you see a person with a cane. He's walking in the street. Cane means he can't see, he's blind. Or with a seeing eye dog. Now, take notice of that. Even a person is in a wheelchair, he's got a broken leg. But when he passes you by, stop. And thank Hashem that you're not in a wheelchair. Thank Hashem you can open your eyes, close them, open them again. And thank Hashem you can see the yellow sun. You can see the blue sky. Baruch Hashem. That guy can't see it, but you can see it. So that should make you very happy. And that's how we have to use all these things. We take the other person's problems. Now we ask Hashem to help that person, but we take that person's problems. Hashem brought it to us. Hashem brought to us the fact that we passed, that this man with the cane passed us by, or we saw him from across the street. Didn't happen just like that. Hashem brought us to test us and to elevate us, and that we should stop and thank Hashem that we have two eyes to see. It would be a shame to waste that reaction. Now, every day a person should ask Hashem, Le'olam yibakesh adam shelo yichle. A person should always ask Hashem, please keep me well. And the best time to pray for good health is when you have it. So when Hashem shows us other people's misfortunes, we should pray for them and feel for them and thank Hashem and be grateful that He has protected us from these things. So now we are preparing ourselves. And the best way we are preparing ourselves through the Pirkei Avot, Derech Eretz Kadma LaTorah, Sefer Bereshit, the Sefer HaMizvot. What are we preparing ourselves with? Midot and Derech Eretz, good character. You can only feed your Torah through a vessel, into a vessel of good character. You have to have a can of good character, a bakbuk, a bottle. That bottle has to, in order to be able to hold the Torah, that bottle has to be a bottle full of good character. And you can pour the Torah into that bottle and it's going to resonate. It's going to grow. It's going to grow with your good character traits of loyalty. Loyalty, that's emunah. Emunah means loyalty. It comes from Vahi Omen. Loyal to Hashem. I'm loyal to my wife. I'm loyal to the Torah. I'm loyal. I have steadfastness. That's a great trait, one of the best. That's what that's shomer ne'eman. Shomer ne'eman means I'm a loyal watchman. And Yaakov Abinu was certainly the shomer ne'eman. To who? Even to Lavan, the Rasha. Lavan, his father, was trying to trick him every week. And at the end, he was trying to he would even try to la'akod et hakol, to kill the whole family. But Yaakov Abinu was shomer ne'eman. When Hashem saw that Yaakov Abinu had this trait of shomer ne'eman, being a loyal watchman, Hashem said, if you could be a loyal watchman to this wicked man that's trying to trick you every day, then you could be a loyal watchman to me and to my Torah. And therefore, Hashem says, I'm going to give you and your children my Torah, because you could be loyal. You have that trait of loyalty, that you could be loyal to the Torah. Another tremendous midah of good character is patience. That's one of the traits of God. Erech Apayim, one of the 13 traits, attributes of Hashem. We have Rachum v'Chanun Erech Apayim, and we are trying to emulate and grow with the trait of patience. Patience, don't answer back. Patience, have patience with people. Have patience with yourself. Have patience with other people, and have patience with Hashem too. Don't think Hashem's you got to pray, ask Hashem for everything. But sometimes you have to be patient. He doesn't answer you. It's not a slot machine. It's going to answer you in one shot. Sometimes you have to be patient with that answer. Wait for Hashem. He wants to hear from you again and again and again. Kaveh v'kaveh v'kaveh v'kaveh. And these midot, you have to be energetic, a go-getter. Zirizut. Zirizut, you got to be a go-getter. When you have an opportunity to do the mitzvah, al tachmitzena. Don't let it become chametz. Don't let it rise. Don't let it get rotten. You have to catch it. Get it when the going is good, when it's hot. When you have that hotness, when you have that heat, is the time to go and get it. Be energetic. That's a great trait. Emunah bitachon. The bitachon, trust. Trust is a great trait. Trust. Kaveh v'kaveh. Trust. You are trusting that Hashem is going to come through. That's called Yirat Shamayim. We say it in the prayers every day. Hamyachalim lechasdo. Hamyachalim means who hope to his kindness. Hope, that's bitachon. And we have chesed. Chesed Hashem elah. These are all midot, the tremendous midot that we're working on between this period of time in order to prepare for Matan Torah. Chesed, emet. How about emet? When I have the trait of emet, always talk emet. That's the trait of Hashem. You have to be forgiving. Don't be so makpid. Don't be so makpid on your kavod. You have to forgive people. Be forgiving. Hashem's going to forgive you. Midah keneged midah. We have self-control, which we talked about a little bit. Self-control is kovesh et yitzro. You have to control yourself. First, you should start to control yourself on the small things. Then you'll be able to control yourself on the bigger things. And all these are midot that we're working on. So we're learning derech eretz from the holy Tanaim in Mishnayot Pirkei Avot. And the Tanaim were able to revive the dead. And the Pirkei Avot is full of them. Every line, every page is full of the Tanaim. Shimon HaTzadik, you have Hillel, you have Shammai, you have the Ben Yochanan Ben Zakkai, you have every page. Let's turn a page here. Let's give you a page. Rabbi Hananiah Ben Akasha, Rabbi Levitas Ben Azai, Ben Zoma, Rabbi Yochanan Ben Beroka. And you could go get yourself a Pirkei Avot. They're all in there. The idea is to get them out of there. You got to get these Tanaim and their ideas out of the Pirkei Avot. Get them out of the Pirkei Avot into your heart, into your mind, into your heart. So, we're working on Ben Adam Lechavero. That's between man and his fellow man. And they include our service to Hashem. Since Hashem has commanded all of these mitzvot. So when we do Ben Adam Lechavero, when we do kindness, and we encourage people, and we give them good etzot, good advice, you're not just being a nice guy. We give a person a loan, give a person some of your time, you give them your patience. You're not being a nice guy. You are doing what Hashem wants you to do. And you have to think about that. That's a commandment of Hashem. So you're doing two mitzvot. When you are doing mitzvot ben adam lechavero, between you and your fellow man, you're actually doing double mitzvot. You're doing what Hashem wants you to do. He commands you to do that mitzvah. And you're doing between adam lechavero, so you have two. You have mitzvah ben adam lemakom. You have mitzvah between you and Hashem to do this kindness, to loan money to your fellow man, to be kind, to give him a smile, to uplift his spirits. And you're doing a mitzvah ben adam lechavero when you're doing these things to your fellow man, to your fellow Jew. So you have double mitzvah. And on the other side is true, and you get double. You're going to get double sachar. You're getting sachar that you're listening to Hashem and that you're helping your fellow man. But the idea is when you're helping your fellow man, think in your mind for a second. I'm doing it because Hashem commanded me to do it. That's why I'm doing these mitzvot. Why are you doing it? Why are you crossing the old lady across the street? It's a nice thing to do, but I'm doing it because Hashem commanded me to do it, and it's the proper thing to do. And I'm working on my midot, and I'm tapping into the kindness. I should be kind. All those things. You can get all exponential reward, and the biggest reward is that you're becoming a better person. And that's what we're working on over here. That you're working on yourself. And that's what Asher bara Elokim la'asot. God created the world to do. To do what? To do something out of yourself. To make something out of yourself. And that's why He created this world. Asher bara Elokim la'asot. Make something out of yourself. The most fundamental idea on which all the mitzvot ben adam lachavero stand is said at the beginning of the Torah that Hashem blew into man a neshama, which is cherek melokam b'ma'al. The neshama is a piece of God. This has unlimited greatness of man. Selem elokim. So that's called gedulat ha'adam. Gedulat ha'adam. So when we realize Hashem wants us to know how great you are, your potential is unlimited, and He expects a lot from you, and He's telling you why. Because you're made in the image of Hashem, and He's telling you in the Torah that you're made in the image of Hashem. If He didn't tell you, you're still de facto made in the image of Hashem. But out of His chesed, He's telling you straight out, You, Jack, are made in the image of Hashem. And so is your friend Saul. He's also made in the image of Hashem. And therefore, you have to, you got to respect yourself. And you have to respect your friend. Your potential is unlimited, and his is also unlimited. So you got to get that into your brain, into your skin, that he's made in Selim Elokim. In fact, one practice of this is to do like this. The rabbi taught us, how do you practice that? Because we're trying to work on a few things over here, and that it's going to cause you. When you realize that a person is made in the Selim Elokim, in the shadow of Hashem, in the image of Hashem, in the midot of Hashem, in the peace of God, and the neshama that's causing that image to be shining on the screen of his face, then we can work on this practice that every once in a while, think when you're standing in front of a person, let's say you're in shul, you're standing in front of a lot of Jews, think for a second. You don't got to tell him this. You're working on yourself. You think that you're standing in front of the image and that Hashem is looking at you from inside of his eyes. Let's say that again. You're standing in front of a nice Jew, let's say in front of a rabbi, but actually it's truthfully it's in front of any person. And then you think for a second that Hashem is looking at you through his eyes, with his neshama, through his eyes of this person. He's looking at you, and he's staring at you, and he's looking at you, he's looking at your thoughts, he's looking at everything about you. So therefore, you have to be respectful. You have to stand up straight. You got to straighten your tie, if you have one on. You have to straighten your shirt. You have to keep your mouth shut, because you're standing in front of Hashem. That's Selim Elokim. And that's a good way to practice that a person is created as Selim Elokim, and it's a good way to practice Yirat Shamayim, awareness of Hashem. That's why Hashem created so many people in this world. Why did He create so many people in the world? In order that you can gain Yirat Shamayim, that you should think that all these people are made in the image of God. Now think about that. I'm telling you a great thought over here. You should think that Hashem created all these people in the world, so in order we can get the idea once in our lives, or actually every day of our lives, that the whole world is full with Hashem, with the image of Hashem, and that we should get that word, get that idea that He fills the world, that we're gaining the idea of Yirat Shamayim, that God is watching us, looking at us, caring about us. He sees our thoughts. Now, let's start with a couple of Pirkei Avot. Okay, the two greatest premises, number one, is that that there's a God in the world. Number two, that we said Bereshit bara Elokim, that God created the world and He runs the world. But over here, the Pirkei Avot, they start off, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek le'olam haba. Oh, all Jews, Yisrael, all Jews have a chelek, have a portion in the world to come. Now, this idea of the world to come is fundamental in being a Jew, actually being a human being, because we believe in reward and punishment, and sometimes we don't see it over here. But there is ultimate, endless reward in Olam Haba. So we are working our whole lives. We're working, and we're promised Olam Haba. Don't think that's not L'Shem Shamayim. It's L'Shem Shamayim. When you're working for Olam Haba, you're working L'Shem Shamayim. You're working for the right motives. There's nothing wrong. That's not called an ulterior motive. When you're working in this lifetime to gain the next world. That's what Hashem wants you to do. And you need incentive. That's a great incentive to think that you're working Le'olam Haba. Now, they all have a chelek. All Jews have a chelek in Olam Haba. Why do we have it? Because of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. That gives us the key to Olam Haba. Now you have to know, the Pirkei Avot comes down and tells us, Moshe kibel Torah miSinai. Number two, God, Moshe, the two biggest thoughts. Number one is Olam Haba, starts off. Number two, Moshe received the Torah from Sinai. Sinai means God. He got Torah from God. All Torah is from Hashem. Torah shebichtav, Torah shebaal peh, Torah we have in our hands from 3,300 years ago. It's miSinai. And all our Pirkei Avot is miSinai. All of our ethics that we're reading now today is from miSinai, from Hashem, from Hashem's thoughts, from His mind, from His ideas, from God Himself. And He's giving to us, and He's giving them to us. All we got to do is study them and chew on them and disseminate them and bring them into our blood, into our DNA. Now over here, we are now learning another Mishnah. Shimon HaTzadik tells us, Shimon HaTzadik was Kohen Gadol, and he was the end of Anshe Knesset Gedolah. And he says that the world stands on three things. Al Shelosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed. Shelosha Devarim. It's a key. You got to know this. You should know this one. Al Torah, Al Avodah, Al Gemilut Hasadim. The world is standing on three things. In other words, if you pull any of these three things out of the world would collapse into nothing. The world would not exist. The world would not survive. The world is existing al ha-Torah, because of Torah. So you have to know the Torah. Who has the Torah? Just the Jews. The Jews have Torah. The Goyim don't have Torah. Only the Jews have Torah. In fact, only the Jews can study Torah. The other ones are studying a book, literature. They're not studying Torah. So we have to. We study Torah, Torah Emet, Natam Betochenu, Torah Emet. We study the real Torah, Torah of the Gemara, Torah of the Chazal, Torah Emet. So that Torah, the world is standing on that Torah. Without Torah, there'd be no world. Hashem would disintegrate into nothing without Torah. And Torah is actually, Torah is when we say Torah, that's the essence of Hashem is Torah. Hashem and Torah, Oraita, and they have the Torah, and you have Israel and Hashem, Chadhu. All are part of the same root. And Avodah. Another thing the world is standing on, Avodah. Avodah means prayers. Prayers, Avodah. In the old days, Avodah meant Avodah in the Beit HaMikdash, sacrifices and all that stuff, which we haven't had for 2,000 years. So today Avodah literally means work. And when you pray, you got to work. Work on your prayers. Work on, what are the first thing you got to work on? The first thing you have to work on in prayers is that you're standing in front of the creator of the universe. That's the first thing you got to work on. Not a small thing. Before you get into Amidah, stop and say, I'm standing in front of the creator of the universe. What a zechut, what a privilege that I could say I'm standing in front of the creator of the universe. Shiviti Hashem, the Negdi Tamid. I'm standing in front of him. Think about that. Conjure up a thought in your mind. Conjure up a picture in your mind that you're standing in front of the creator, not of the whole universe, of everything, of every atom, of every neutron, of every electron, of every hair, of every thought, of every person, of every animal, of every single creation in the whole universe. I'm standing in front of him. Wow. Now you could start. And this Hashem that I'm standing in front of, he loves me. He loves me. He's ohevoti. And he can do anything for me. He can do everything for me. He's got unlimited powers. Can do everything, and he's been doing it. He took care. He brought your mother and father together. Our parasha put them together, and he's able to create a new creation, create a baby. Man and a woman get together. They create a baby. How does that work? Nobody knows how that works. Nobody can tell you how that works. You put two chipmunks together. They get another chipmunk. How does that work? You put over here. We put even flowers. They propagate. How does that work? Birds. Right? Put birds. They get more birds. Chickens. More chicks. More eggs. How does that work? How could that work? You put bats, cats, giraffes, elephants, rhinoceroses. You get more rhinoceroses. How does that work? How come two rhinoceroses don't give a giraffe? How does that work? You have to think about that. This is niflaot haboreh. This is gemilut chasadim. This is the kindness of Hashem. And we are thinking about that. So that is part of our avodah, is to think about that. And ala Torah. So the whole world is standing on the Torah, ala avodah. Avodah is prayers. We're thinking about, again, when we're thinking in our prayers, we're thinking about who we're standing in front of. And this that we're standing in front of, he wants to do everything for us. He can do it, and he wants to do it, and all we got to do is we have to ask him for it. When we ask him for it, it means that we're gaining Yirat Shamayim. That's what Avodah and Tefillah means, gain Yirat Shamayim. That's what we're here in this world to do, to gain a concrete thought, make it concrete that there's a God that's running the world. Yirat Shamayim, to see. Yirah means to see. Ve'haroim asa sheyiru midefanav. God made the whole world that you should see. Yiru means to fear. It also comes from the root to see. To see. Go down the street today, and see it. Open your eyes and see it. Look at the sky. The nice sky out there. Beautiful blue sky. See it. And the third pillar is kindness. Kindness. Hashem created the whole world with kindness and for kindness. That's what He created the world for. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Created the world for kindness. And when we do kindness, we don't do it just because we're doing it. We're doing it to emulate Hashem. Torah, that's Yaakov Avinu. Avodah, that's Yitzhak Avinu. And Gemilut Hasadim, Abraham Avinu is the Amud HaChesed. He is the pillar of Chesed. We have a Mishnah coming right after that. Yosef ben Yoezer says, your house, your home, should be a home for a gathering of wise people, Chachamim. Why? Well, you will learn from them, and it'll seep into your mind. These Chachamim have ideas that will come into your mind. And my father, Alav Shalom, Yosef ben Nizha, he always had Chachamim in the house, and this brought Yirat Shamayim to him and his children and the whole family because of his attitude towards Chachamim. Now, we have over here a Mishnah, a beautiful Mishnah from Shammai. Now, we know we have Hillel and Shammai. Now, Hillel was basically the authority that was most accepted in the Gemara, in the Mishnayot, Halakha kebet Hillel. But Shammai was a giant. Now we tend to think that Shammai was a strict character, a tough character, but it was very far from the truth. Shammai was very soft and gentle, Yirat Shamayim. He was just a kanai for Hashem. He wanted to follow the rules of Hashem. So what happened with him? Well, we know over here that they tell the story in the Gemara that the Ger came to Shammai, the guy wanted to convert, and he said, Geireni al regel echad, convert me on one leg. And Shammai said, yeah, I can't teach you the whole Torah on one leg. You're trying to make fun of the Torah, trying to make fun of the religion. It takes time. So he kicked him out. He said, go find somebody else. So he went to Hillel, and Hillel told him, oh, I'll teach it to you. Just you got to know one item. You should love your fellow Jew like you love yourself. Love your fellow man like you love yourself. And the rest is all perush. So they ask him, what do you mean? How does that work? What about all the mitzvot ben Adam hamakom? What about the mitzvot between you and Hashem? Say the Shema, put on tefillin, eat kosher food. What about those mitzvot? They have Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot. So Hillel said, no, that's all explanation. That's all explanation. The main thing is, v'ahavta l'recha kamocha, l'recha also includes God. L'recha means your best friend. You should love your best friend like you love yourself, and that's God himself as well. So we are seeing over here that Hillel's system, Hillel, and we have to know Hillel was the rabbi of Rabbi Akiva. Now we are right now in the Omer, and during the Omer period, we are in a mourning period right now that we don't listen to music that has instruments, and we don't make parties at this particular time until the Lag BaOmer. So why is that? Because at this particular period of time, the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva were passed away. They were afflicted with a terrible plague, a terrible sickness. Hashem afflicted them with a terrible sickness. 24,000 of the greatest rabbis in the whole wide world. Now this needs to be studied, and I can't explain it to you on one leg. That's for sure. It needs to be studied by rabbis. But it says over there, the Gemara. I'll tell you what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, "Shelo nahagu kavod ze lazeh." And my grandson yesterday, little boy, 6-7 years old, asked me, "How could that be? These great rabbis weren't respectful one of the other?" So he couldn't understand it. So I tried to explain to him on their level. Of course, that's the way the rabbis try to explain to him, that on their level, they certainly were respectful. Don't say they weren't respectful. They were. But when it came to certain things, that small things that you would have never have noticed those things had you been there, that was considered under Hashem's microscope. Hashem operates with these great people under a microscope. That was considered lack of respect, especially since the Torah of Rabbi Akiva, of these 24,000, was going to be the platform for the Torah for the ages. It was going to be disseminated from here. So any pagam, any kind of a defect in that Torah was going to be carried over for the rest of the ages. So it had to be started off on the right, pure very, very pure premise. So in such a case, Hashem started from scratch. Rabbi Akiva went out and found 5 or 6 brand new students, and he trained them from scratch, and he trained them with the premise: you got to love your fellow man like you love yourself. This is the great principle of Torah. Now, he also taught in the Pirkei Avot. We're teaching Pirkei Avot. He said, "Haviv Adam shenivra b'tzelem." How fortunate is man, how beloved is man. Actually, he was created in the tzelem, in an image of God. Oh, he said, how fantastic, how fortunate, how beloved is man. He's created in the image of God. Hiba yetera noda'at lo shenivra. Special additional love is that God advised him in his tzelem Elokim asat Adam. The Torah, man was created in the image of God. That's in it. It's like a grandfather, grandson, $1 million, but he put it very nice. But now he gave that bank. He told him, I got greater, because now be beholding to his grandpa. So beholding to God, not only create. Thank you so much, Hashem. You created us, Elohim. But on top of that, he says over here, Habibim Yisrael. How much beloved even more is Jews, our Jews, Israel. Why? Because God called us in His Torah, His children, Banim Lamakom, His children. So what's giving us that right? Because shenitan lahem keli chimda, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about we're counting up to getting the Torah, and over here, that's our life. Torah. Why? The idea is that we should know it, we should appreciate it, we should study it, we should be beholding to and we should know that everything we have in this world, everything we're going to have in the next world, all the love that Hashem, all the barakah that is giving us, why? Because we have the kalichim, and that's the Torah, and we're counting up now. Time, counting up, we're waiting for Shavuot. Have a great day.